Good morning, it's Sunday the 22nd of December. It's currently 3 degrees with a bitterly cold biting wind, but I've come down today to harvest my Christmas veg. I've got some Brussels sprouts which haven't done particularly well, but they're okay. I've got some parsnips and some turnips that I'm going to get up. And then I'm thinking of moving some of my raised beds onto the second plot because they've been a little bit shaded out this year. So on the second plot they're going to get a lot more sunlight and hopefully grow a little bit better. So let's get on with moving the raised beds first, and then we can harvest the veg just before I go home. These are the raised beds in question. I've got a bank of 3 there, a 2 there and a 3 there, and to be honest they didn't do too badly this year because they get a little bit more light. But I think these along here have been shaded out by the sun. As you can see, it sort of comes up over there, travels across and then sets over there. So for a lot of the day these are in shade from the greenhouse. So the position I'm thinking of moving them to, they shouldn't be obstructed by anything, so they should have a much better chance. But they're full of soil and there's no way I can move them, so I'm going to have to empty out these anyway because that's the 2 areas where the parsnips are. So I'm going to put the soil from those into there, move this up to the second plot, transfer the soil from there back into there, and then move that one up. So it's going to be a little bit of a job. I'm not sure if I'll get it done today because it's absolutely freezing. I can barely feel my fingers, but I'll make a start by harvesting the parsnips that are in there. I've dug the parsnips out of these 2 raised beds, and this is what we've got. They're not the biggest parsnips in the world. There's a couple that had started to rot, but the majority of them are a reasonable size, and they're going to be perfect. So when I get home I'm going to process them. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the soil out of here. I've put a little bit in there already. I'm going to transfer what I can into there, and then the rest over there. Let's see if I can get this big old thing moved. Quick progress update. I've dug out as much as I could take out. I filled up these 2 beds here, those 2 beds there, and a wheelbarrow full. So what I'm going to have to do now is I'm going to have to take the wheelbarrow and put this soil on the second plot on top of a tarpaulin, and then take another barrow load just so I can lift them. And then I'll take this up now and I'll show you the area where I'm going to put them. Up on the second plot now, I've just put a tarpaulin down. I'm just going to pop the soil there temporarily, and before I put it back in I think I'm going to sieve it through and get rid of as much rubbish as I can. It's a mixture of sharp sand and compost that's in there. It's quite fine, but it's been a little bit compacted inside the raised beds. I'll just show you the area that I'm thinking of putting them. I'm going to put them along here. I'm going to take these raspberries out. They didn't really do anything, and I'm just going to put them in the central line, roughly where the raspberries are, and that gives me a walkway either side. I'm going to put some membrane down and I'm going to wood chip the entire area, so I think I should be able to get all the planters along there. And as you can see, it's going to get a lot more sun as the sun goes round. There shouldn't be anything in its way really, apart from that tree, which won't be a huge problem. So I'll just get the next barrow load of compost moved and then see if I can get them up here. So with every allotment based job there's always 10 steps that precede the step that you want to do. So what I'm thinking is, I've got the planter up here now. I don't want to throw these raspberries away, so I may dig them up and put them into one of the raised pallet collar beds where they're less likely to spread, and I can keep them in check a little bit better. And I'm going to put the planters diagonally across here. So now the job is dig up these raspberries and get them temporarily put into the bed, move all the junk out the way, flatten it off a little bit and get the weed membrane down. Hopefully should be able to get the raspberries out today, and if I've got enough time I'll get the weed membrane down, but I very much doubt it because I've got to pick my son up from the train station shortly. So I haven't got a lot of time to mess around, so I'm just going to get stuck in and get this area tidied up. I've only transplanted 4 of the raspberries, This one here is a Glen Prosen, which is a summer fruiting raspberry, and then I've got 3 Glen Apples, which again are summer fruiting raspberries. So they should be quite happy in there. Now I might just mulch it over with some wood chip. Still got a few leeks in there that don't seem to be doing much, but they can stay in there for now. And then I've got this bed here. I'm going to transplant the strawberries out of that tub into there, so that's going to be a little bit more manageable because I can't see the roots spreading too much further because the path is going to be mowed regularly. And now I'm going to have the weed membrane over here, so I'm just going to dig out as many roots as I can, flatten it off, and then have a hunt for the weed membrane. I've managed to get a good chunk dug over. I've took out as many roots as I can. I've almost filled that recycling tub, but the rain's coming down pretty heavy now, so there's no point in me carrying on. It's just getting muddy and horrible. So I'm going to call it a day for today, and hopefully the weather will be a little bit better tomorrow and get a little bit more done. Morning, welcome back. It's Monday the 23rd of December and it's bloody cold again. I think we're at 3 degrees, but today there's no wind, which is helping a little bit. I'm fully layered up and I'm ready to do some digging. Just going to get that section finished off today, levelled out, and get the weed membrane down, and then if I can get the second planter brought up. But I'm not going to push myself too hard today. I'm just going to take it easy. I've got plenty of time to get things sorted out before spring, so I'm just going to have myself a cup of coffee, warm up a little bit, and then I'm going to get cracking. So that's that section dug over. What I think I'm going to do now is I'm going to go a little bit deeper and I'm going to put an extra plank of wood underneath just to hopefully stop any roots coming through. You can see there where the wood stops, so I'm going to go one more plank under that, get that staked in, and then that should stop any of the raspberry roots from growing through. So let's see if I can... So there we go. I've got the little extension piece on the bottom. I've gone the full length. It's not exactly pretty, but it's taking it down probably another 3 or 4 inches, so hopefully that should stop the raspberry roots spreading. So I'm just going to backfill it now, take some time to get it level, and then can get the weed membrane out. I've got the ground all flattened out nicely. I've moved the 2 blackberry bushes. I'm going to put a trellis up against the back wall so that they can climb onto it. The old arch that they're growing up has just completely rotted and disintegrated, so I'm going to get a nice structure. I might put some wooden posts in and a bit of steel mesh, and I've got one bin there. I'm going to put the other one roughly in line with the joint from that pallet collar, and I've got a smaller one that I may either put there or up the centre to make that into sort of a letter H. But before I do any of that, I've got to get the weed membrane down, and then I want to make 100% sure that I'm happy with the placement of the bins, because once they're full they're not going to move. But I think that's enough room there to walk around to get to the blackberries. Got a little bit of a walkway there so I can get to this bed, and a walkway at the other side to get to where the raspberries are going to be. So I think that's a plan. I'll just walk over to flatten out any lumps and then get the weed membrane out. So I think I've made up my mind. I'm going to have one planter there, that's roughly the size of the planter, one in the middle, that's not far off the size, and that one there. So then I've got a good walkway all the way around all of them. They shouldn't crowd each other out, should get plenty of sunlight. So I'm just going to make a little bit of a start, depending on what time it is, and putting some soil into that one, and then I'll bring up the other large one, and then finally the small one. So I've got the... Hello and welcome back. It's Christmas Eve, back up at the plot, and I've just started work on filling up the first raised bed. It's going to take roughly, I think, 2 wheelbarrows full per section, and there's 3 sections, so there's 6 barrows that I've got to bring up to this plot, and then that should free up the second planter so I can get that in position. Just a quick progress update. That's that first planter virtually full. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get some compost and some sand mixed together just to top all the beds off. I've got this one in position. I've used this bit of plastic walkway as a spacer, so the other tub is going to go there. So I've just got to get this one filled up, and then I can bring the third one up. There we go, I've got all 3 beds in place. I've got a couple of barrows full of soil to go back into them. So this is how it's going to look. I've got a good walkway both sides. As you can see, this one's for you, Wayne. Spot on level. So there we go. Just got to fill them up with those 2 barrows and that little pile of soil there, and then we'll be ready for the wood chip. That's all the planters in position, partially filled with soil. Just put a cover on that one to keep the rain off it. I'll see if I can find something for these 2. So it's just the wood chip to go down now and just finish it off and make it look nice and neat. So it looks like once again time has beaten us, but we've got a good chunk of work done today and it's looking good now. I've only got to put the wood chip down. I'm going to staple the membrane to the raised bed either side just to keep it taut, and then I'm going to fill it up with wood chip. That'll probably be the day after Boxing Day now. So I'd just like to wish everyone a very happy Christmas, and I shall see you all again very soon. Thanks very much for watching, and goodbye.